Hi friends, now in this session we will discuss the currency swaps from the CFA Level 2's derivatives first chapter. This discussion is in line with the interest rate swap which we saw in the previous discussion, but it works slightly differently. So the techniques we will use to calculate the swap's value and do the pricing of the swap is different here. In the interest rate swap, that is the exchange between the floating rate side and the fixed rate side. So the interest rate, one is the fixed rate and the another is the floating rate. So that exchange happens. In the currency swap, this is a swap between the two different currencies. In the interest rate swap, it is on the same currency, but here it is on the different currency, and this creates a new situation for us. This is what we have to see here. This generally, like, students feel this particular topic is very difficult, but in my opinion, this is very simple topic. If you have the intuition, you have to build the style of thinking for this, and once you are able to think from that particular perspective, everything will be easy for you. Let's first understand how this swap works. Let's say this is the timeline. This is the time t0, this is the time t1, and this is the time t2 and t3. So we are assuming like the swap starts from the t0 and matures in the third year, which is the t3. This swap is between the, let's say, $1 lakh. So you are giving the $1 lakh to get, let's say, euros. And let's take the dollar to euro rate. $1 is equal to 1 euro. For now, to make like the things simple for understanding, I'm taking $1 is equal to 1 euro. You exchange it with the 1 lakh euros. In example, we will see the proper calculation, but here we will assume this basic thing. On this dollar, we will have the different term structure compared to the euros. Remember, the interest rate for each currencies are different. So based on that, we will have the different situation. If you are making if you are giving this particular dollar, because you are giving this dollar, this is kind of an investment situation. So you are making the investment, so you will get dollars against it, right? So every year, based on your SFR, here we don't have any floating problem. Both will have the fixed rate. So you will have the SFR, the fixed rate on the dollar, which we will call it as a SFR dollar. And for the euro side also, we will have the SFR, which is SFR euros. At T1, you will receive the 1 lakh multiplied by SFR in dollar terms. Okay, whatever is the amount, this is what you will receive. This is what you will receive. And you have to make the payment in euros, but using the rate of euros. This is what you will pay. Remember, you are receiving the dollars, net dollars. Okay, so $1 lakh multiplied by whatever is the SFR, and you have to make the payment of euros also. So for the paying euro part, you have to use the dollar, you will convert it into the euro, and then you will do the calculation. But in the exam, you may get a question from the dollar side or the euro side. It doesn't matter for us. Whatever is the question, you have to simply get both the currencies. Obviously, one currency you will have in the same question like currency. So let's say the question is about the pound, then you have to convert a dollar into the pound and then compare pound to pound. Or if the question is about the dollar, then again, you have to convert the, I'm saying pound by mistake, it is euro. This is not the pound, this is the euro. And if you have the dollar in the question, then you have to convert the euro into the dollars. Okay. Now, in the T2 also, same thing will happen. In T3 also, same thing will happen. So we don't have any situation here. The only problem we will face is because of the new term structure, we will have the difference in the valuation, and based on that we have to do or calculate the value of our position of the swap. Okay, so this we have to see. We will take the example first and then we will see all the calculations. Let's say Party A wants to swap dollar for pounds. Here I'm taking pounds intentionally because I know I'll end up saying pounds, because it's just like 2 years, 2 hours before I was giving the example of the dollar and pound, and maybe I'll end up saying pound in between if I take the euros. So here we are assuming like the dollar is exchanged for the pounds. Now understand this: when you are giving the dollars, this giving dollar is like the investment, right? So you are making the investment in this, and because this is the investment, you will receive the coupon on this. This coupon is based on the SFR, but SFR applicable for the dollar. And in exchange, you are getting the pounds. Because you are getting the pounds, this is like a borrowing pounds. So this will be treated as the borrowing, and here you will be paying SFR rate in the pounds, which is SFR pounds. This means here we will have the two-term structure. Obviously, like because we have the two different currencies, we will need the two-term structures, and based on that, we have to see how the calculations work. So first, let's take the one more thing. Remember, because this is what you are investing, the dollars is the investment. This is your asset side. You have to treat this as an asset, and this is your liability side because you are borrowing it. In exam, when you get the valuation question, the most problematic thing for the students is how to analyze the swap has the positive value or the negative value. So answer is very simple. If your asset is more than the liability, then you have to use the positive value. If your liability is more than the asset, then you have to use the negative value. As simple as that. Let's take the spot rates first. Spot rates. This is for the dollar spot rate. And also we will need the spot rate for pounds. And this is 1 year, 2 year, and 3 year. So it is 2%, 2.5%, and 3%. Here again 1, 2, 3, 3 years spot rate, and this is 1%, 1.5%, and 2%. So spot rate applicable for both the currencies are different. Again, we have to see the notional principle, like what is the notional amount and then what is the currency exchange rate, and then we will see the calculation. So here, because this is the annual part, we will need the discount factors. SFR calculation is exactly same here. So discount factor I have already calculated, so I will simply note it down here, and so that like we can move with the main discussion. 9518, and this is 0.9151. In case you haven't watched my interest rate swap video, make sure you watch it. It is also available on the YouTube. And then here we have 0.9900, 0.9706, and 0.9423. Okay, and the total is 2.8472, and here the total is 2.9029. These are the totals for the discount rates. Now, the notional amount. Remember, we are saying this amount as a notional, but it is not actually the notional amount. What happens is like it is actually exchanged. Remember, in currency swap, the notional is actually exchanged because obviously you need pound. That's why you are making this exchange, right? You are making this swap. In case of the interest rate swap, it is actually the notional. You are not actually exchanging the currency because ultimately it is same, dollar to dollar. But when the situation is dollar to pound, you are making this swap. So you have to actually give the dollars and get the pounds, and in the end it will be reversed. Notional amount is $1,50,000, and exchange rate is equal to $1.5 is equal to 1 pound. Okay, so $1.5 is equal to 1 pound. So when you give $1,50,000, against it you will get pound 1 lakh, because £1 is equal to $1.5. So £1 lakh will be equal to $1,50,000. Simply $1,50,000 divided by 1.5 is equal to 1 lakh. That's how we got the 1 lakh value. So here the deal is fair because what you paid, this is what you are getting. But the thing is, like, when you are paying 1,50,000 as an investment, think of it as a plain investment, you should be getting the return which is equal to 1,50,000. So this means if we have 1,50,000 as an investment, then the return part should be 1,50,000 multiplied by whatever is the coupon rate, because we are assuming you are investing in the bond. And this coupon rate is SFR dollar divided by whatever is the rate, but is in the dollar terms, to the power 1,50,000 again multiplied by SFR dollar divided by 1 plus R in the dollar terms to the power 2 for the 2 years. And in the third part we will have the same, this like the coupon which is calculated using the SFR plus the principal. This principal is equal to 1,50,000. This is what you will get in the return. Again, the thing is, like, we have to calculate the SFR to ensure that what we are investing is what we are getting in return based on the yield structure. So that's why we have to calculate the SFR for the dollars, and similarly you have to calculate the SFR for the pound, because what you are borrowing, you should be effectively paying the same amount, right? This is what, like, the after adjusting for the time value of money, obviously. Fine. So again, we will see the SFR calculation first. I just gave the explanation like why we needed two SFRs, because we want to ensure that whatever we are, like, in the SFRs form, we should be getting our investment back. So let's calculate the SFR for this particular part. I'll just minimize it. SFR dollar is equal to 1 minus 0.9151 divided by this total 2.8472. If you solve this, the answer is 2.98% for this particular part, and for this particular part it is SFR pounds is equal to 1 minus 0.9423 divided by 2.9029 is equal to 1.987%. So we got the two rates. Once you have the SFR, this is the liability or the investment return you will get. Okay, so in our case, because you are giving the dollars, so you will receive 2.98% on the dollar part, and because you are getting the pounds, you are going to pay 1.987% on this. Now the first question, what is the amount to be paid? In first settlement, and we will assuming the exchange rate of $1.40 is equal to £1. This is the exchange rate we are assuming. Now the answer is simple. Receive the dollar, and based on this particular rate 2.98, and your principal amount is $1,50,000. So 2.98% multiplied by 1,50,000. Okay, is equal to $4,470, and pay pound is equal to 1.987% into, remember, our notional amount for the pound side is 1 lakh, which is equal to %, which is pound 1987. So we want to calculate the net payment, but in the dollar terms, right? Or net receipt in case of in the dollar terms. So to get this into the dollar terms, we have to convert it and at the rate of 1.40. So you are paying 1987 multiplied by, and the rate is 1.40. So the final answer is $2781.8. So this is what you are paying and this is what you are receiving. So net is 4470 is equal to minus, or simply 1688 net payment, net dollar payment. Now in exam you have to focus on what is the question. Is it the dollar payment calculation? Is it the net dollar payment calculation? Or is it the from the pound side? So if it is from the pound side, then you have to convert the dollar into the pounds and then you have to solve the answer. Okay. So this is about how the payment will be made or how the payments will be exchanged. The interest rate part will be exchanged. Now next question here is on the valuation. Valuation of swap. Now in the valuation of swap, here we don't have any basic guidelines available where you have to do the valuation on the specific settlement date only. You can do it in between also, because this valuation is very simple. In the valuation part, we will assume, like, because our swap is for the 3 years, so at the end of 2.5 years, the rate of $1.6 is equal to pound 1. Okay, so 1 pound is equal to $1.6, and because 2.5 years passed, okay, now you have only 6 months remaining for the settlement of the your swap, final settlement or the last settlement. So what we will do here, again we need some information, and the rate applicable for these 6 months, the 6 months rate is dollar. For the dollar part it is 3%, and for the pound it is 2%, and this is the rate we are taking. Now how to do the valuation here? The valuation is very simple again. Remember, you have to treat this as the bond, so bond dollar. So we have to do the valuation. So what you are going to get? First you will get, or you have the coupon side multiplied by the SFR. So 1,50,000 multiplied by the SF multiplied by 2.98%, 2.98%, plus, because remember only 6 months are left, so you will get the coupon plus principal. Your principal is 1,50,000. Okay, and this should be discounted by 3%, but here the rate should be semi-annual, because we have to do the calculation for the semi-annual. So otherwise, like, we won't be able to handle the rate, or it will be complicated. So we are assuming the rate is semi-annual. So divided by 2, only one semi-annual period is left. So to the power 1. So if you solve this, 1,50,000, I guess we did the calculation, right? Yeah, 4,470. 4,470 plus 1,50,000 is equal to 154,470 divided by 1.015 to the power 1. So divided by 1.015, and the answer is equal to 1,52,187. Okay, approximate answer. So this is the dollar amount. Remember, you gave up your dollar, so you made the investment. Because you made the investment, this is your asset worth 1,52,187. Now we will do the valuation of the bond 2, which is our pound bond denominated in the pound, and here we have 1 lakh multiplied by the interest rate, which is 1.987%, plus 1 lakh again divided by 1 plus, remember to take the discount like the rate on the pound, which is 2%. 0.02 again the semi-annual, because we are assuming it as semi-annual. Okay, otherwise we won't be able to do the calculation easily. So 1 lakh multiplied by 1.987%, it is 1987 plus 1 lakh. So we got the answer divided by, I'm directly discounting it. Okay, so 1.01. Yeah, and then the final answer is pound 1,00977. 1,977 is the value of the pound side, pound leg. Again, the problem, because this is the pound side and we want to compare it with the dollar side, so you have to convert it into the dollar, but using the current rate. And what is the current rate? Current rate is this 1.6. So using the 1.6, so bond pound value in dollar terms is equal to 1,00977 multiplied by 1 point, the rate is 1.6. This will give you the dollar. 1,00977 multiplied by 1.6 is equal to $161,562.3.2. Now remember, this is what you got. Pounds, what you got. So this is your borrowing and this is your liability side. Okay, so this was your asset side. 1,50,000 is your asset side and 1,61,000 is your liability side. So simply asset minus liability is whatever is the value. So value here is equal to, what is your asset? Asset is 1,52,187 minus, what is your liability? 1,61,563.2, and then simply solve this. 152,187, 9,376.2 is the dollar denominated liability. The swap value is negative. Okay, swap value is equal to minus 9,376.2 dollars. Okay, this is how you do the valuation. Now, what if you are provided with the, like here we assume like the last phase only. What if only 2 years passed and 2 years are remaining? In that particular case, you have to do the valuation in a different manner. Different manner as in the same logic, but you will be using the bonds duration of 2 years. So you will have the 2 year spot rates, and using the 2 year spot rate, you can do the discounting, and based on that, you can find out the value of the bond. But ultimately, calculation will be same. Find out the value of the bond. The way you find it out, you know how to do the bonds valuation. So treat one side as the asset, depending on is it your investment or the borrowing, and the other side will be your liability. So asset minus liability is the logic. It is very simple, but in my opinion, like this is what I think. You won't get the question which requires like the multi-period bond pricing with the different term structure, because it will be very time consuming for the examination. So for this reason, I think like this setup should be sufficient for the exam purpose. Okay, so that's all for the currency swaps. So in the next video, we will see the equity swap again, which is the simplest discussion. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video. Bye bye. Take care.